Okay, so page 2 of our book. So today I figured I would go into my own personal ethics of witchcraft. I know we all have our own ethics and our own rules that we abide by depending on whatever path it is. And so I just wanted to say in the very beginning that this is my personal practice that I am sharing. It is in no way the only way to do things. There are many ways to do things. This is just the way that I do them. So most witches follow some kind of a code of ethics. So I'm going to write out kind of my principles, a list of them. And then on a separate screen, I'm going to go into depth kind of explaining it. And I wrote it out in little images so that we can read it together, but I'm not going to write it all out because it would be kind of redundant in my opinion, because it's a practice that I follow through with. Okay, so excuse my reach as I'm going to write awkwardly so you can see me. Okay, so number 1, know thyself. Number 2, you are the spell. Okay, so I'm probably not going to read it exactly the way I wrote it out just because I'm talking and I add words. But you are the spell. So in a major way, the craft of a witch begins with understanding who one is. Whatever their goal in witchcraft, step 1 is honesty and knowing one's own nature, character, and personality. And this will change as we grow in experience. Gaining a grasp on one's moral compass will aid a witch in the style of witchery they may pursue. At our foundation, we are all born whole. Who we are is ever-growing addition into ourself. So it's always adding to the wholeness of who we always are, you know? No one can tell you who you are. No one can make you feel fulfilled. We only seek that which is in alignment with who we are and what we know at any given moment. And that really opens up worlds of learning our way, navigating through trial and error and exploring things, trusting our gut, trusting our intuition, and not being rigid within our life, but also within our witchcraft. So as we experience life, we grow, and so too will that which we align ourselves with. Expect mistakes and successes. Practicing witchcraft is an ongoing self-growth, initiation into knowing self. However, emotionally immature witches may seek out love or lust spells or power spells. I know I did when I was younger. Not understanding the power is always of self. So it's like already there. You already have this. It is found from within, not from outside influences. So outside influences, including stones, herbs, and teachers, only help us focus, help us with concepts, and in studying self-awareness. It's like the Fool card in the tarot. We all have naive moments, and that's okay. So we can be kind to ourselves, grow from our mistakes, celebrate moments where we felt we did good, and enjoy the curiosity that is life. So I wasn't sure about adding this in here, but I figured I would, because it does tie really heavily into the way that I practice witchcraft. So as I taught my kids to love someone else, to love another person, first we need to understand what love is. And the best way to do that is to know what love feels like. And so that is from self-love. So self-love is the only way that we know what love is. From there, love is ever only shared. It cannot be given, it cannot be taken away. It's shared. So witchcraft is no different than that. It comes from you, and it is you. And then it may be shared any way that we seek to share it. So it's always coming back to, no matter where you are in your practice, you are always the spell. You're already whole. You don't need to feel anything. And as we grow in understanding witchcraft, we're just adding on to that. So that's kind of a big deal to me, to understand that. And understanding that has given me a lot of confidence in trusting my mistakes as long as I grow from them. and trusting that my intuition is guiding me correctly. And that goes into my witchcraft. It goes into my spellcraft. It goes into my everyday life. All right, so let's go on to the next part. So I kind of write those two together, the know thyself and you are the spell, because they are so interconnected. I was having a hard time separating them without repeating myself. So I went ahead and put those together. 3. Understand. Balance. So the balance. This one is kind of easier to understand, I think it is, but I grew up with this concept. So nature is our greatest teacher. Nature teaches us the balance, a concept in learning witchcraft by way of the seasons, of weather, of life, and of death. The universe has an ebb and flow. Every action and inaction creates a cause and effect. So like everything that we do in witchcraft has a reaction. Even if we don't do something, sometimes it has a reaction. I always kind of like to think about, so Spider-Man. But I always like to think about Spider-Man and that really sad moment with Uncle Ben. And his actions is what made him kind of change the way that he perceived his great power. But another way to look at it, which is a very witchy way, is if we come across wild peppermint growing along a river, the person are in the presence of generations before them. How they respect that plant, the soil, and the water will affect the generations in the future experiencing the peppermint growing along this river. Understanding that everything we're doing is connected and that time doesn't really have a space because what was before is now and will be in the future. And what we do affects it. What was done in the past affects our experience now. So the balance is understanding how everything moves and flows, especially when we weave spells. And that ties deeply into the next part here. So acknowledging universal balance around you will find its way into daily and magical life. A witch's community is more than just human to human. It is a connection to all things seen and unseen. The term harm none, do what you will, may be a focus on understanding the balance. So you see how that peppermint plant understanding, to not harm it, but do as you will. Take some of it, right? Harvest some of it, enjoy it. It's there for you to enjoy, but don't take it all because the root system needs to continue to grow for the next generations. Make sure we don't litter in that area so that the soil is healthy, that the water is healthy. Don't take too many rocks away because it might then flood the peppermint from being able to grow there because it's going to change the way the water is flowing. So there's a lot of awareness when it comes into the balance. And when I was younger, I was very intimidated by that. I didn't want to do something wrong. But as it becomes something of your everyday, it really does become natural in paying attention to the way that we interact with the world, whether it's with people or acknowledging a tree in the city, acknowledging a tree in the forest. Whatever it is, we're part of that balance. And that energy has a signature that causes some kind of a positive or negative, depending on what it is, inaction or reaction. So yeah, okay, let's go on to the next page. 4. Learn. So we're never done learning, right? To be confident in what is known and open to learn more upholds the balance, which is what I was talking about previously. Within witchcraft, there is no expert, there's no guru, there's no masters. There is only respect earned through experience. And we'll find those witches along the way who have earned that respect, right? So all teachers only share wisdom and never are to be idolized. If you ever come to a space with an imbalance of powers, leave. Just get up and walk away. You don't need to be in that space. Respect and power are opposing features, especially in witchcraft. I personally have experienced unhealthy covens, dance troupes, and friend groups. Then a therapist taught me about circles of accountability to assist me in balancing and understanding my own boundaries. So I'm going to put a clip of that in here in between because to me it's really important in learning. So there's more than just learning like books and learning spells. There's also learning how to move through the world as a witch. So this is my personal chart that I actually have printed in on my bathroom wall, just as like a daily reminder, a daily focus to be aware if I'm spreading myself too thin or if I can actually give myself more in other areas. I'm always trying to find that balance in my day-to-day life. So in the center is myself, and then I include my cat. So Jack is in the center with me. And then, so there's myself. So there's understanding like my spoons, what I need to be able to share with my family, share with my friends. I need to take care of myself first to make sure that I am a good, healthy place. Have I slept enough? Am I hydrated? How is my mental health? How is my physical health? Am I eating? All of those like self-care things is in that center circle. And then the next circle is trusted and loved family, as well as trusted and loved friends. Not only like your chosen family with friends, but it's also the family that supports you. The family that you know is going to be there for you, that isn't going to judge you, that is going to give you some good, healthy advice. So that close family. This is who I'm going to want to give most of my energy to outside of myself. Okay, and so then we have the outer ring. And that is where coven activity goes, supportive organizations, online friends, community. I do a lot of volunteer work, any kind of protesting that I do, like care providing, like giving either whether it's witchcraft or going out and like offering myself to the community, right? It's okay to volunteer. It's okay to give a lot to my coven this week or whatnot. And it's okay to give as long as I know that I'm taken care of, my friends and my family were good, and I have that, I have those spoons, I have that energy to give. And then everybody else in the world is on the outside of these three circles. So this is the way that it was explained to me, and I constructed this for my own personal life and things that are important to me in my life. You notice that work is not in here. So work is part of everybody else. So this is not about the necessities of life where it comes to like needing income or needing like to pay the bills, right? This is this is about your person. It is about your energy, the things that bring you joy, right? I love that idea that we can't give to our family, to our friends, if we don't first make sure that we're okay. And so, yeah, so this is the circle of accountability. So let me get back to the other part of this. Maintaining this circle, the circle of accountability, has given me the deeper understanding of when and where to say no or yes. As a person with a nature to give, I have been taken from many times in my life, and this has been one of my greatest lessons in life, to not so freely give away my generosity and my magic. It has also grounded me in my own confidence as a witch and how I share my craft. There is no competition in witchcraft. We all craft our witchery based on our experience and current education. Our lived experience guides our witchy education, and practicing what we learn becomes our wisdom, tied into our lived experience. So that learning, that circle, it's really wide reaching. So we are self-taught, book smart, witch to witch, observant of the universe, and are of many pathways within wisdom of old and nature. So that's kind of my take on these three focuses that I have. And for me, I can see the harm none, do what you will within this, as well as understanding where I am in the balance of the universe, in my community, when I go into the woods, when I am self-soothing myself, when I am sharing food with my family and friends, or when I'm just like giggling and watching a movie with my family. I can see all of this ties into who I am as a person, and if I as a person, I am a witch, all of this becomes a lived experience that works into the way that we craft our witchery. Okay, so let me go back to the book. And then, as always, I like to add some kind of poetry. This is, I'm not sure if I picked this up somewhere or if it's just something that I came up with. So I'm going to do it just here kind of on the side. And I'm going to go back probably this weekend and do some artwork throughout this. If I have the camera at the ready, I'll try to record myself doing the art. But I don't know what this weekend is going to unfold for me. So I'll try whichever way. But next week, I will share the artwork that I put on, that I fill in on these pages. So of me is you. Of you is me. Through me is you. Through you is me. Soften into me as I soften into you. So my thought on this generally ties into nature. It ties into my ancestors. It ties into a higher energy that I'm working with. And I think about the balance of my work and their work with me. I see it as a companionship, a teamwork, respect, like a mutual respect. And so this kind of pulls me into that concept. I know it's not written in here very perfectly today, but I like the way that it's added in here in kind of a sideways way. I'm going to put that art in, like I said, and we're going to see how this turns out. So here is week 2 of the page. Hopefully you're enjoying these videos and this new goal to create this book. Next week will be another page, and hopefully you're joining me for that. So hopefully you're having a beautiful day or night wherever you are, and as always, happy witching.